Hampi was the capital city of the Vijayanagar Empire in the 14th century. The remains or ruins of Hampi have 16,000 surviving structures of the last great Hindu kingdom in South India. That includes forts, temples, royal and sacred complexes, shrines and riverside features. In our 3-day visit to this UNESCO World Heritage Site, we have tried to explore most of it. On our first day, we chose to visit the stone chariot during sunset, as this is one of the most important structures here in Hampi. And on our way, we would see the monolithic bull, Tungabhadra river and some other ruins of old temples. We started from Hampi Bazaar Street, which has a hallway-like structure on both sides of the street, which stretched throughout the length of the street. At the end of the Hampi Bazaar Street, you get to see the Matanga Hills, the monolithic bull and the archaeological museum. We took the left turn from here towards the Tungabhadra river, which leads to the stone chariot. The Tungabhadra riverside is also a spectacular sight, and the hills with huge boulders creates an unique backdrop. The slow flowing river and the hills that looks like piles of huge boulders are unlike anything I have ever seen before. This particular type of terrain is probably unique to Karnataka and gives Hampi its singularity. The Ghats of Tungabhadra river offers an exclusive opportunity of taking a coracle ride. A coracle is a round boat made of bamboo and covered in plastic, mainly used to ferry people across the Tungabhadra river. Throughout our way to Stone Chariot, we saw small stone carved temples and other small structures that creates an incredible sight and gives you a proper feeling of visiting ruins of an ancient civilization. Every structure looks like it has been there for ages, well preserved, but has a rustic, overgrown feel to it. The stone chariot is a part of the Vithala temple and market complexes. The Vithala temple is the most artistically sophisticated Hindu temple in Hampi. The Vithala temple has a Garuda shrine in the form of the stone chariot, which is an often pictured symbol and obviously the most popular of all structures here in Hampi. Apart from the stone chariot, the temple dedicated to Vithala, a form of Krishna, has three distinct compartments: Garbhagriha, Ardhamandapa and Mahamandapa. All the temple's outer and inner walls has intricate detailed carvings of different gods, and the huge paved floor itself seems like a miraculous feature that is still uniform and almost flawless. Being inside the Vithala temple complex, you would definitely feel amazed thinking how building such structures would have been possible during the ancient times with limited tools and technology. The golden light of the setting sun gave an otherworldly aura to this place. I started day 2 at the bank of the Tungabhadra river, which was just beside our stay at Hampi Bazaar. The plan of day 2 was to visit the royal palaces early in the morning. The main attractions among the royal palaces were Lotus Mahal, elephant stables, Hazara Rama temple and a stepped square water tank also known as the Queen's Bath. In the early morning light, the Lotus Mahal looked majestic. The structure is very well preserved and looks identical from three sides. I couldn't stop photographing it. The elephant stable complex consists of 11 squared chambers with arched openings and domes on the top. The elephant stables and the adjacent places seems to be favorite among different species of parakeets. They were in good numbers there. The archaeological structures are spread even further beyond the royal palaces. We explored further and found several different temples and structures, and even went near the hillocks to have a closer look at the structures on the hillside. Our next stop was the Hazararama group of temples. This temple was dedicated to Lord Rama and an avatar of Vishnu. It was the ceremonial temple for the royal family. The temple is dated to early 15th century and is attributed to Devaraya. The temple's outer walls have carvings that portray Dashera and holy festival processions and many more structures. The inner carved pillars includes depictions of Rama, Lakshman, Sita, Durga as Mahishasur Mardini and Shiv Parvati. We went on to see the Mahanavami platforms, which is at a good height and gives you a 360-degree view of the surroundings. Another remarkable structure in the vicinity was a stepped square water tank, also called the Queen's Bath. This symmetrical stepped tank made of granite is another structure that is hard to apprehend. I stood in awe looking at the structure and thinking, how was it possible in that era to cut stones so accurately to make such a magical looking geometrical three-dimensional structure? On our way back, we stopped for a minute at the Narasimha statue that marked the end of our second day's morning session. To escape the scorching midday sun, we went to this cool, cozy place called the Mango Tree Restaurant, which is located at the Hampi Bazaar near Virupaksha Temple and is the most renowned restaurant in Hampi. This is a vegetarian restaurant and every dish or beverage we tried were just incredibly delicious. To be very honest, it was the best vegetarian food that I have ever tasted. We were so in love with the Mango Tree restaurant that we were there for breakfast, lunch and dinner for 3 days straight. Second day evening was planned for a sunset at the Matanga Hills. It was a tiring and semi-difficult climb, as at the end there were a few difficult spots to overcome. Halfway to Matanga hilltop and you get a lovely view of the Virupaksha temple and Hampi Bazaar street. From the top of the Matanga hills, it's a whole different story. A 360-degree grand view of the whole city of Hampi. The Tungabhadra river flowing through the valley, the setting sun that tinted the scenery in a natural sepia tone. It was an extravaganza for photographers. We get to see a clear bird's eye view of the Achyutaraya temple, which we didn't get to visit in this trip. We sat and watched the sunset turning the sky pink. I would suggest getting down from the hilltop when there is still light. There is a few difficult spots which can be hard to cross under cover of darkness. When we finally got down, scenes has changed a bit and the alley towards Virupaksha temple become a nighttime spectacle to capture. Day 3 began again beside the Tungabhadra river, trying to capture some drone footages. But sadly we were stopped by the locals immediately. Flying drones anywhere near the ruins of Hampi is prohibited and is a punishable offense. On the third and final day we had only the morning session to shoot. So we head out early to visit the Virupaksha temple and Hemakuta hill temples which were nearest to us. Virupaksha temple is the oldest shrine and the principal destination for pilgrims and tourists. The 160 feet high Gopuram marks its entrance, which is a pyramidal tower like many other South Indian Hindu temples have. The courtyard inside contains several smaller temples and is an active worship site for visitors and pilgrims. The main attraction of this temple premise is an elephant named Lakshmi who was missing at that point of time from the temple. Upon asking about her, we found out she is being bathed at the ghats of the Tungabhadra river. So we rushed towards the ghats to see another spectacular sight. Lakshmi was peacefully lying on the riverbed while her mahout scrubbed her and washed her gently. Quite a number of spectators gathered to visualize this, while Lakshmi indifferently played with water like an innocent kid. The gentle giant even sprayed on pilgrims seeking her blessings. Our last stop was the Hemakuta Hill temples just beside the Virupaksha temple. The Hemakuta Hills has monuments with two monolithic Ganesh. It took us just a while to visit this group of structures. Our trip ended with browsing through the local shops at Hampi Bazaar, looking for curio crafts and jewelry items for our family and loved ones. The local market offers quite a good variety of these items to be collected as souvenirs and decors.
Yeah, exactly.